Hi, this is Debbie and welcome to Book and Bujo. Today we are flipping through my 2021 reading journal. I started off my reading journal with a fun quote that I found. You can never get a cup of tea large enough or a book long enough to suit me. Then here I got a couple of wax stamps for Christmas, and so I was playing with them. And then I also found this quote, "The new year stands before us like a chapter in a book waiting to be written." I had so much fun finding bookish quotes for this reading journal. I have my quotes and then my Goodreads goal of all of the books that I read. I didn't have enough squares or circles, and so I ended up having to write a bunch of the numbers around the outside of the diagram. And then all of the books that I actually read and some fun quotes that I found as well. My first book series tracker, when I actually started tracking some of the series, and then I realized I didn't really like that format of it, and so I changed it up for my future reading journals. A to Z challenge, I did fairly well. I didn't get the normal ones like Q, V, X, Y, or Z. I had my Pop Sugar challenge in there, some more quotes. For January, I kept my theme pretty simple. I just wanted a basic outline framed around the word January. I had some of my reading stats, days that I read, and then some of my thoughts on the books that I read. Got a little fancier with my February letter, F, and then again, same thing, set it up pretty much the same way. I had my TBR, had my stats, and my days read, and then my thoughts for the books. For March, I did another fancy little M, and again, my reading tracker, my stats, what my TBR was, and then some more book reviews. And I kind of kept with the same format for each of the months until we get to April. I switched it up just a little bit, mainly with my cover page. I found this really cool butterfly fairy that was coming out of one of the books. Actually, it's almost more like a butterfly mermaid coming out of the books. But again, I kept everything else pretty similar. I changed up how I was doing my tracker for reading, but otherwise pretty much the same things. I went a little bright with May with a very bright pink, changed up my reading tracker again. For June, I decided to go with the same theme that I had in my bullet journal, and that was Mistborn. And so I had those kind of symbols from Mistborn with the metallic colors, but otherwise everything else is the same. But I had fun with some washi tapes. In July, I went with, I believe it's Bible Bujo, and one of her little Firefly themes. And I also started taking part in readathons, and so I was part of the Olympic Games readathon for July. And then again, I decided to go with the same theme of my August reading journal that I had in my bullet journal, and that was a Star Trek theme. That was actually one of my favorite reading trackers, just with the different planets and the different types of stripes and stuff. That was how I tracked what type of book I read. And then, of course, in August, we had the magical readathon with Aurelium. It was the start of the Aurelium Academy, and I chose my characters. So this was Ariel, and I picked out what place she was from and what type of creature she was and all of that fun stuff. And then tracked all of my prompts. I had the map for Aurelium in there. And then I also came up with my second character, which is Karasu. And same thing, I had all of his information in there as well. Ariel is part of the Order of the Crescent, and Karasu is part of the Archivists. And here I have the land that Karasu is from and a little bit more information about Aurelium. And then we move into September, which is Becca's Bookoplathon. So I added my Bookopoly board in there as my cover page and my TBR that I got from that. And then again, my reading tracker, my stats, and my book reviews. Coming up next, we are moving into one of my favorite reading journal themes that I've done so far. So I based it on my favorite book, and that is The Six of Crows. So for October, I did a Six of Crows theme, and there it is. I had so much fun, and it was so stressful though trying to draw that crow. I wanted it to be just right, but I also wanted to freehand it. So I was looking up a bunch of reference videos and images on the internet, and I found one that I liked, and then I freehand drew that one, and I was very proud of myself for that. And then I got a Fomemo printer and started printing out some of my book covers, and so that was kind of fun too. For November, I started it out with a quote, and then after that I moved on to my cover page. So the quote is, "Fear not, November's challenge bold. We've books and friends and hearths that never can grow cold. These make amends," by Alexander Louis Fraser. Again, printed out more of my book covers. I didn't do as good with my trackers on that one, but I was thinking I probably didn't really need them as much as I had when I first started it. And then another quote was, "November comes and November goes, with the last red berries and the first white snows, with night coming early and dawn coming late, and ice in the bucket and frost by the gate. The fires burn and the kettle sings, and the earth sinks to rest until next spring," by Clyde Watson. I also really liked my December cover page with the mistletoe. I thought that turned out really pretty. I really liked the colors that I had. And then again, my TBR, my reading trackers, my readathon for the 12 books of Christmas, my stats, and then my reviews for the books that I read, and I never did get around to printing out my book covers. Well, I printed out one. And then we kind of got to the point where the year was over, but there was still a lot of pages left in this book. So I have my stats for the year in there. So I had read 51,341 pages, 148 books. My average rating was 4 stars, which is nice. My average length book was 346 pages. And then again, we have just a lot of blank pages. And then we get into the continuation of my books read, because I ran out of room at the front. And then I did another Goodreads book challenge tracker to show a little easier how many books that I had read. Book series I want to read, my Battle of the Books, which Crooked Kingdom won, not surprising. My tracking for reading through the Bible in a year. I was trying to post on Instagram a little bit more. And then I have more blank pages because I haven't finished much in here. So I think what I'm going to do is use these blank pages in other bullet journal spreads that I do when I need some white pages. Thank you so much for joining me through my 2021 final flip through and see what it looks like after the pen. And please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to see more from me, and leave a pencil emoji down in the comments for tracking my reading journal. And until next time, keep reading.